first thing I want to say to the entire group is that we are here today to have some fun doing gaming. Make mistakes. Try something just to see what happens. And don't be afraid to let your character die spectacularly. Sometimes players rock this right away and they jump in and go. But I promise you, once we get in game and you start doing stuff, there's going to be a click. You know, we're here to demo a game and, you know, how people can have fun with it. The way the game works, anytime you describe your character doing something, you will describe that, you will naturally say what you're using as far as equipment goes, and that will naturally point to an ability that might help you as well. Abilities are just names of talents or skills or qualities that your characters possess that either help you to do what you've described doing or even enable you to do it to begin with, which is going to give you guys a lot of player agency in game. There are going to be GMs that might feel a little insecure about this because you guys are going to be able to do some cool stuff.
If I wanted to use my additional level 1 little perk here, and I wanted to bring in another halfling ability, avoid big folk.
Yeah.
Can you give me a little insight as to how it works?
What might you describe where that ability would help you?
I would avoid big folk by using my dexterity to basically Muhammad Ali my way like right through there.
Dancing around them? Yeah, because you mentioned using your dex because dex is associated with that ability. And if you'll look at your stats, you know, your strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, the typical D20 stats, you'll note that there's a little definition for what each of those does. So, of course, a related ability is going to be defined by that. One of the things I wanted to tell you guys about is the word more. The setting is a shattered world. It has been sundered apart, literally broken. And a moor, or a number of moors, is what is left. We'll immediately recognize that DUNGEONMOR, at the end of it, is M-O-R. The name is a legend. It is one of these lost places. Sometimes moors disappear, sometimes they reappear. Moors can float in a seemingly endless dark sky or cloud of strange vapors, sometimes hanging in the heavens like stars, sometimes sinking below into mists or fog that can't even be seen through. Our adventure today is going to be about the appearance of a moor and a village that happens to be nearby it. The village is called Tanglewud, and it's really more like a town. You know, I call it a village, but it's really a town. It's been around for a long time, hundreds of years. In Tanglewud, a plague has come that is turning folk into mindless husks.
Of course. On the case.
Its cleric offers a reward to delvers for finding the plague's source and ending its devastation. So you guys are going to begin in this town of Tanglewud. An important thing to know is that its people are scared, fearing a curse from the nearby forest. This forest is the newly appearing moor, by the way. It looms in the distance on the horizon, a black silhouette, and it does not change even in daylight. The cleric of Tanglewud, Angelia, she is offering you, of course, any sort of equipment that you want. One of the things that you have heard that is on the lips of most people is The Legend of Tanglewud, which, by the way, is the name of today's adventure. It is also going to be the Kickstarter exclusive, The Legend of Tanglewud. Long ago, Jared the Druid was cursed for betraying the forest. Ever since, its trees consume the living.
Going around the edges of the town to try and figure out if there's, a direction to this creeping darkness.
Is there anything in particular your character would be doing to determine that?
Try and revive the plants around the town and kind of see if something doesn't like that.
I don't even know if this is a role, because you can obviously do that, and a lot of this happens in DUNGEONMOR. Sometimes your abilities just don't need a roll. If it's not risky or uncertain, you just do it. And I think this is something that you just do. You'll have definitely noticed, like with the nearby marsh and any of the vegetation, grass, shrubbery, and stuff approaching that forest, that here and there are patches of just dry, desiccated plant life.
So Ricard comes into town, and after hearing the rumors, decides to talk to the village guard to see what it is that they've seen. People get turned into husks. If they're doing anything, if they're exhibiting anything weird.
Yeah, smart approach. Well, now we're getting into something that might be uncertain, because depending upon who you talk to and what kind of information you can get out of them, who knows what you'll get. So let's make a roll for that. So let's do a charisma check. And when I ask for a charisma check, you will be rolling with your charisma modifier, or you might actually have an ability related to charisma that you feel like helps you here. Or you may not.
Yeah, I don't think so. No. Yeah, it's like a 3.
You've done this for an hour now. They are tight-lipped and scared, and every time you try to talk to someone, Ricard, they just wind up, making the double protection sign or something and walking away from you.
Ajax would be in the library, just mainly getting the history of this town. Trying to go ask the librarian if there's any more, like in the back of people have returned.
Oh, yeah.
And only because I want to try a charisma roll, because
yeah. See where you go.
because Ajax means well, but can come off as very blunt and rude without trying.
Nice. I love this. And I love that you go to a weaker score to have a little fun. Yeah, make a roll.
Curious.
Man, I want to game with you more.
I got a 14.
Again, she kind of looks around as if to see who else is in the library. Then she walks back, like grabs a few books, bring them out, and they're pretty ratty, But when she sets them down on her desk and kind of pushes them towards you, she leans in and in a real low voice, even though no one else is in here, she says, "You can hear the forest whisper evil."
The only thing I was planning on doing, because I can't really contribute in any meaningful way, is to go and check the wildlife out around the perimeter of the town as it gets closer to the moor.
That to me sounds like a wisdom check. You'll notice that wisdom is about instinct, senses, and performing miracles. And in your case, you're looking around and observing things. That's, one of your 5 senses.
With my mod, that's going to be an 18.
First of all, there seems to be a dearth, an absence of wildlife. The things that you do find are some, again, dry, desiccated, powdery remains, very pale in appearance.
Ortho would have followed Krath and Dwalin out of the bar. He would have gone with them towards the edge of the village or town. To getting close to the edge, I would want to use let my nostrils flare and let all the smells come in, and use my smell creatures to see if there's anything out beyond in the darkness of the woods that is natural or unnatural that would give me some sort of clue as to what we might be getting ourselves into. I probably wouldn't have just strayed off from the other two that were going in that direction.
Jay, it sounds like another wisdom check for senses. And you've actually called on an ability, so you'll use that abilities mod specifically.
And I got 19.
When you leave and you start sniffing around, the smell around these powdery, desiccated forms is particularly vile to your nose. You think, you recognize it as some sort of fungus. But the fact that you're seeing animals and plants affected by this fungus, that disturbs you.
There's nothing safe in that wooded area. Anything that goes in there will certainly die. And I just start wiping away my nose and trying to cover it up. Cover your faces. You don't want to breathe in the dust of the spores that will come from the fungus growing inside that desolate forest.
Oh, yes.
We asked the barkeep for some rags or something. We can fashion them.
Can you wash them first, though? Because I don't trust this barkeep.
So many demands from you strangers.
Is there any kind of pattern to the people getting sick?
Would that be something you're asking the cleric? It sounds like you guys might go and see if she has current people she's treating.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good. The only pattern that she's noticed is the fact that it seems to be a growing epidemic, that people are getting more and more sick, and her magic just often, it fails too much. And even those people she feels like she's cured, most of them wind up getting sick again.
And I ask her if she can direct us to the house of the last person to disappear.
You guys are given the location of Peter's house, who's recently lost, a loved one. Mildred took ill. This was just 2 weeks past. It still affects me deeply. And she seemed fine at first. She went for treatment to Angelia, and that seemed to help her out immensely. But that very night after the healing, she tossed, turned, fretting with terrible dreams. And then she just seemed to turn pale and wan and began wandering around the house. And I tried to make sure that she stayed home. But of course, I had to leave to till my farm. And when I came home, she had vanished. I felt like I had secured the door so that she couldn't leave. She did not seem to be in her right mind anyway to make any sort of decisions or understand the world around her to any degree. Yet somehow she found the means of unfastening the latch and wandering from the house. I found the door just standing wide open.
Anton, you can see that Rakar's kind of in his thoughts, and he looks at you for a second and goes, "Hey, you can talk to animals, right?"
I can talk to anything.
I was talking to my sword just the other day.
Doesn't mean I can understand it, but I can talk. No, I mean, you're a ranger, right? This one.
I am, yeah, but I talk to them, but they don't talk back. You just look at their instincts and see how they
Okay. So is there perhaps someone in this town that's kind of in the state where she was right before she vanished, and maybe we could just kind of stay in the shadows and watch and see, maybe a surveillance team and see what happens.
One of you could make a wisdom check, if you're keeping an eye on them, watching over them. Shoot, maybe this is even an intelligence check. You're putting together a plan, to follow this person, or you might have a specific ability for watching or following people. Jazz?
Okay, so the play victim that we're stalking, surveilling. How dark is the place that he's in? How dark is it? Like, does he have a lot of light, or is it a good amount of shadows?
I think it could be as shadowy as you want it to be.
How well can you see in darkness? If Ajax would allow me, I'll try to give them something like an owl's eyes to improve their ability to see in the darkness, so they can be our point man.
Okay, and how long does that last?
No idea.
Fair enough.
I've mentioned that magic is somewhat of a, it's a dangerous, misunderstood resource. In game terms, we talk about things in scenes and adventures, and usually magic will at least last for an entire scene, perhaps an entire adventure. One thing that happens in DUNGEONMOR is that if you roll a natural 1, 2, or 3, that is called drawback. And if you get drawback, the watcher gets to do things. That means things haven't worked out well for whatever it is you're doing. If you're in a risky or uncertain situation, that's when it really kicks in. Not every time. You have to be doing something risky or uncertain. Magic is definitely that. So I would imagine that if you successfully give her owl sight, it will last until Jasmine rolls drawback, and I decide to use that drawback against her. And don't worry, I won't do it the first time she rolls drawback. I'll wait until she's in the complete pitch darkness.
Okay. So, all right, let's do it.
So, touch ask her to bend down because I'm short. Ask her to bend down because I'm short. Touch the side of the head and then close your eyes. The eyes are open.
And you call upon the nature spirits to grant her owl sight. Make that roll. This is a wisdom check for you. Am I correct?
Yes.
So, what happens if he fails?
Oh, we'll find out. That'll be fun.
So 19.
Jazz, on your character sheet, you'll see that there is a little box called effects.
Yes.
And that's where you'll write that. You'll put owl sight. With your owl sight and your friends with you, you guys easily pick up on an individual that's just kind of stumbling off into the night, and obviously in the direction of the forest.
I do not want the magics cast on my face.
Yeah, he may actually be scared of magic.
Yeah, and then like seeing your eyes looking at the group while doing that, kind of just like see him kind of like lean back a little
Yeah, it's
bit.
got that funky light reflection going on,
Not to mention this is coming from like a drow, right?
Okay, don't target the drow.
I don't love this anymore. We've crossed a line somewhere.
So you have followed this. This person is just wandering far away from the town, 3 hours out, and already the edge of the forest is near. Just sitting off the path is a small hut. And that out around the hut, you see animal pens and you see herbs hanging on like a little wooden rack.
It's what type of animals are in the pens?
Chickens, some goats.
I lean down and I say, "Do not worry. Rakar will not hurt you. See, I do talk to animals.
Thanks, Ortho. Yep. Yeah, thank you. That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah.
As we're looking at this, what's happening with the like zombie walker?
The person you've been following kind of stumbles amongst the yard and then just kind of wanders in onto the shack itself, like up against one of the walls, perhaps near a shuttered window, and just starts banging on it. Within moments, yes, there is a light from within that you can see through the shutter. The door opens in the front.
I quickly dive into the shadow of the corner of the house. So I just quickly dove down so they don't see.
I gotcha. Blocks the line of sight. Go around an edge or something. How about Rakar? What are you doing?
Standing across the road from the house.
Noted.
Yeah, I'm probably doing the same.
Gotcha.
Staying low.
Yeah, I was up on the herbs anyway. I would probably, like, as soon as the door opens, kind of drop down so that my upper head that looks like the head of a caribou looks like it's more just an animal, like at the herbs. So trying to drop my human arms down a little bit so that maybe that's not seen over where the stuff's drying out.
Oh yeah. How about Dwalin?
Probably on the other side of the road, along with Rakar and Hara.
Noted. Ortho, Nick, you said that you were kind of ducking down behind that herb rack. This sounds like a dexterity thing, but you're reflexively ducking and making sure that you're covered by this rack. The precision of hiding, if you will.
I'm reflexively rolling a 5 again.
Nice.
With no modifier, so it's just 5.
So, like, from the moment this person opens the door, this is kind of a rough-looking individual. It doesn't even look like he's wearing night clothes or that he bothered to change out of what he was wearing during the day. And in fact, he looks like he's got some rather thick leather that covers him, like, from head to toe. Imagine, if you will, a classic adventurer that never takes off his armor. So you've got this sweat and blood stained leather that he's wearing. He's grizzled, got long hair, kind of opens up. He is immediately distracted by his herb rack and says, "Hello there now, Nelly. How'd you get out of your pen?" And starts wandering over to the herb rack.
Oh no. I stand up and I pick up my staff that has like 2 claws on the end of it. Just
in the road, put a couple of arrows that point in the direction of the woods in the sand, so that the others could see it. And I guess we follow them.
I gotcha.
So I'm going to, because you say that, I take off my boots, and when, as I established earlier, that I have caribou type hooves. So next to the arrows that I just dug in, I'm going to put those prints, and I'm going to use those to hopefully give them another set of tracks to follow as we're following them following Eric into the woods.
The two of you creep along, following Eric as he approaches close to the giant black trees that border his property. And you see, as he gets closer, he raises a hand to his mouth and makes some sort of clicking or chirping sound. Nothing seems to occur as you watch. Then, you hear something moving amongst the trees high up. Branches creaking. Black forms moving about their boughs. And then you see things drifting down on thin strands, closer and closer to Eric. where he clicks and chirps away towards the forest. How far away are you from Eric?
Probably the same distance, about 100 feet, and I'm going ahead and getting my hands on my axes.
Gotcha.
I have my staff that's got the stuff, so I'm just ready to go if I need to.
Gotcha. These forms come down, and there's no doubt to you that these are not anything resembling humanoid forms. These things look like some great insectoid or arachnid things. Spiders drifting down, larger than Eric, that come close. There must be at least 3 of them. Yet Eric doesn't run. And you hear whispers. Now, you're still a little ways away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I doubt that you can hear what is actually transpiring there, but there seems to be some, dare it be said, some sort of communication.
I'm going to try and move closer to hear the sounds.
Gotcha. Closer so as not to be noticed.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, this sounds like, again, a dexterity check for you.
Get no modifiers because I've got an 8 in my dexterity. So I got a 6.
I was going to ask you if you have an ability that helps, but it sounds like that's not going to matter much.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so you approach, and yeah, you're not getting anything intelligible. You keep getting closer, and then you see a multitude of eyes gleam past Eric in your direction, and you see a spidery shadow walk around Eric, looking straight at you. And then suddenly there's a burst of speed towards you.
One of the abilities that I took is sprinting.
Nice.
So I'm going to try and sprint and
Try to sprint away.
Right. Ooh, 4. No, sorry. I get the sprinting added to it. 5.
5. Oh, that's great. You see Ortho galloping back towards you. And then you see him stop and fall. And you see his form slowly being dragged away towards the shadows where Eric is. What do you do?
Do I see what's dragging him away?
At a glance, no, you can't really discern what's happening there. Now, you can, of course, take time to scan that more carefully and try to pick out details. You can be cautious.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and scan it and pick up some details.
Yeah, you could make a wisdom check to really try to pick out what's happening there. You're still at a safe distance away-ish.
11.
11. Now, it's all happening too fast. In fact, he's being dragged through, tall grasses into this shadowy area. Yeah, you don't see what's going on there. And then you see Eric turn in your general direction.
Like, possibly looking at Ortho or looking at me?
He seems to be looking towards you. Oh, fun. You see 2 other large, shadowy, spidery forms move from behind him, and you see the grasses begin to move towards you in waves as something approaches.
Okay. Well, how far are we away from the cabin?
You are probably a good football field away.
Hang on, let's see here. I am going to make a break for the cabin because I am seriously outgunned here.
Gotcha. Sounds good. All right. So that's what you're going to be doing. Let me quickly get back to Ortho. Ortho, you were sprinting away and suddenly you felt something all over you and your legs got tangled up and you stumbled, and then you started being dragged back in the direction of the spider things. What do you do?
I'm going to try to roll over so that my face is up instead of down on the ground to see if I can see what's going on. And then if I still manage to have my sap with the claws on it, see if I can jab it at whatever is dragging me.
Yeah.
I'm like in some sort of webbing or something like that, try and slice it.
Yeah, definitely you are covered in web.
Yeah.
That web is being dragged back to the thing that shot it at you. Sounds like you're trying to sever those webs.
Yes. Am I at disadvantage since I'm like being drugged and on my back and wrapped up?
You are not at disadvantage right now. It's like you haven't been wrapped up or anything.
This is where the 1, 2, and 3 happens because I rolled a 2.
Right.
Are they kind of grouped together?
Oh yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to approach them and rage versus all adjacent. I'm going
So you're going to put yourself right in the thick of the
right in the thick. Right in the chip.
So yeah, these things were going to be rushing towards you, but you were able to rush up there and engage them and, try to take on all the spiders ever. This sounds fantastic. Yeah, make that roll.
20.
20! That's a crit, sir. You're going to get to roll 2d4s because you got a crit.
6.
6 points of damage to these things. You just start playing and hacking and you are just shedding spider goo everywhere. And they tremble away from you at your flurry of axes. Who else is close by? Rakar, Ajax, Wallen?
Yeah, I'm close by. And Ortho is still tied up in the webbing, correct?
Yes. However, the good news is the spider that was dragging him closer stopped because it was getting attacked.
So I'm going to go over and cut him free from the webbing and put myself between him and the 13.
Maybe because it is a struggle, there might be some sort of limitation or cost to it. Now your sword has webbing all over it and it is sticky and might cause you some problems continuing to use it until you clean it off.
Okay.
Ortho is at least free.
So Dwallen's going to run forward and he's got just a big club. And we're going to try and swing the club at the spider. So as a dwarf, we have giant fighting, which I assume just means good at fighting things bigger than himself. So he's going to kind of come up to the side of the spider and take his maul and just try to take out the legs.
Go to it.
21.
Nice.
Swing at the spider.
That is also a crit. So you're going to take your damage die. You're actually going to roll 2 of them. And that's going to be the damage that deal.
Maul is D8. All right, we got a 3 and a 1.
3 and a 1. Well, in this case, because it had already been harmed by a fury of axes, you smash it and finish it off.
I'm looking at, I have this alchemy fire flash.
Yeah. So you're going to uncork some alchemist fire and throw it at the spiders.
Yeah.
Are you going to throw it at a particular spider or what? What's your intention with this flask of alchemist fire?
Just get it away.
Just get it away. So throwing it at the nearest one, get away.
Exactly. Like all you hear is this shrieking.
So when you do a distance attack, it is that's dexterity. So make a dexterity check.
9, 10. Oh.
10, but not a 1, 2, or a 3, right?
Oh no.
Good deal. Because that would be great with alchemy fire. So you throw. The good news is that your alchemist fire bursts near the spiders, doesn't hit any of your friends, but also doesn't hit the spiders.
How dry are these woods again? Right.
The spiders are in a terrible mess, and they, of course, fire has happened and they are moving away. And you see that Eric is kind of, crouched away from all the flurry of things going on, holding on to his two short swords, kind of like in awe of, oh my, this was terrible. And